thanks to everybody who participated in the debate. I've sat through many debates like this in the Dáil, and I've heard the Minister's responses in the past. I've heard about the pilot schemes, heard about the task forces, heard about the marginal improvements in what is a horrendous situation. It's still horrendous. If you go from waiting 6 years for an intervention that your child needs to waiting maybe 5 years and 8 months, that is still a horrendous, unacceptable situation. I don't doubt the Minister's sincerity. I definitely believe that she cares. But I do not believe what you said, that the government is fully committed to families of children with disabilities. I do not believe that the government wants to convert any of that care into action that will make a meaningful difference to these hundreds of thousands of families. And I believe that, like, an illustration of that is the government's approach to the motion tonight. I mean, I really think, and this is their regular approach, this is what they do every time now with motions on this issue. They're not opposing our motion, they're going to allow the Dáil to pass it, but like Breed said, you have no intention of implementing it. I mean, there are 17 very, very clear asks here. How many of them do you intend to implement? I don't believe you intend to implement a single one of them. And that's just then the height of cynicism. It makes a joke of this democracy, that you're able to bring in a motion, say we need to do this, and the government's able to let it pass, and the Dáil will officially say these things, but then you don't intend to do them. I'll give you an example, number 12. Immediately ratify the optional protocol of UN Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities. You do not intend to immediately ratify it. Why? Because if you do, then the likes of Greg Lewis or the likes of Charlotte, the likes of people whose children are denied the education that they are entitled to under Article 24 of the UNCRPD, education on an equal basis with others in the communities in which they live, they could take action against the state. So you don't intend to do that. You don't intend to scrap the means test for those on disability allowance. You don't intend to scrap the means test for carers allowance. You don't intend to make sure that they are payments that cover the real costs of having a disability. The budget is a week and a half away. You do not intend to do that. You do not intend, as number 17 calls for, to invest an additional 2.5 billion and massively expand funding for disability payments in 2025 as the first year of a transformational multi-year programme to end exclusion and poverty for disabled people and ensure that no one is left behind. I do not believe that you intend to implement a comprehensive plan for staff retention across the relevant services, addressing in particular pay and conditions. We all hear these awful stories of people who become therapists because they want to help children, and then they're trapped in this awful situation of managing massive waiting lists, not being able to do what they do, under massive pressure, unable to afford housing, and then leaving, going into the private sector. This downward spiral. And it relates to the point about the pilot programs in the schools. Yes, it'll be good if we have therapists in special schools. Obviously, that makes sense. Yes, it would be good if we had therapists in every school. Absolutely. But if you're just moving the therapists from out of the CDNTs into the schools, well, then you're going to create an extra problem. The fundamental issue is to address that issue of staffing. And that gets to the point in terms of the barriers, removing all the barriers to further education for those in these professions. That's the question of fees, that's the question of accommodation. We could have these people on our courses and actually relatively quickly would be on the ground assisting while learning, etc. Doubling the number of places available in universities, ensuring that AONs are carried out and recommended supports, ensure delivery of adequate training and support for teachers, SETs and SNAs. We have a programme here which would make a meaningful difference to all those people, and this Dáil will adopt it. We'll say we'll say that this is our position, but it really is the height of cynicism that the government does not intend to do it. I finish with this just to say that the only way the government will be forced to do any part of these is precisely by the campaigning pressure by the people who are in the gallery today, by all those who are watching, by those who will be outside the Dáil next Thursday. They have to be shamed into it, they have to be pressured into it, they have to be forced into it. It's not right. These parents should not have to fight. They really shouldn't. It's outrageous that they have to. They have enough on their plates already, but that is what will ultimately make the difference.